Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And as always, I would like to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of quick and important information being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. This is the brother Yah Shammai coming back at you with another quick update. Here we have thousands of protests. We have thousands of people, tens of thousands. Well, we have over 10,000, over 15,000 people protesting in Brussels, Belgium. They're protesting in Brussels, Belgium, over the cost of living crisis. Now, I believe this is the third time I heard about these kind of protests rising inside of the European Union. Okay, so here it says thousands protest cost of living crisis in the EU country. You see, and it's all over what? The cost of living. So the cost of living is rising in the EU, and this is further causing more protests to rise. Okay, now down in Athens, Greece, thousands of people took to the streets to protest the cost of living. In France, thousands took to the street and protest because the cost of living. Okay, and this is not the only country where there's protests going on. Okay, here in Bangladesh, you had 200,000 people protesting, calling for new elections. Okay, and you know, Salak, that was my fault. I should have had these pictures readily available, so you know. And then of course you got violent protests in Paris. You know, we can't forget about this one. So everywhere you look, there's a new protest, you know, breaking out. You know, now of course this protest was over a football game. Show you, you know, that people down there in Europe, they're on edge right now. If people are lashing out violently over a football game, then you know people are on edge down there in Europe. So everywhere you look, there's protests everywhere. You know, 200,000 Bangladeshi protesters call for new elections as violence grows. You see right there. So the latest thing in the news now is that you got over 15,000 people who have taken to the streets to protest the cost of living crisis in Europe. Now, if you notice, it says the EU. The EU consists of what? Those 10 different cities. Okay? The 10 different cities which make up the European market. As a matter of fact, let's go to pictures for edification. Okay? And let's open up this picture right here. Okay? So you see right here, I'm hold on, let's do this real quick. Okay. So lessons 5th series. Okay. Now let's highlight on this. Let's maximize this picture here. Okay. Oh, excuse me. I did not mean to do that. Okay, here we go. So right here where my cursor is at, these are the 10 cities that make up the European Union or the European market. These represent the 10 horns which are being governed by the 7 heads of NATO. As you see the 7 heads right here, you have Germania Major, you have the Romans, the French, you have the Spanish, Germania Minor, you have the British, and the Greeks. These are the 7 kingdoms or 7 governments ruled by Esau that basically rule these 10 cities, the 10 horns, which are a part of the beast, which is NATO. Okay, and then of course you got the great whore, which is America, which sitteth upon the beast, right? That rideth upon the beast. America's that great whore, Revelation 17:1. And then right here, you have the 10 cities which make up the EU. These are the 10 cities which are going to turn on the United States of America and shoot intercontinental ballistic missiles on this country, according to Revelation chapter 17, verse 17. So the 10 cities are right here as listed. Now, I would have just got it from my notes, but I accidentally left my notes at home. So, thankfully, thanks to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, I came prepared. So, you have the 10 cities right here, which you have Belgium. And now I know it's kind of blurry, but that's because this picture is not necessarily in HD. So right here you have Belgium, and these 10 cities make up the EU, the European Union, which is also known as the European Economic Community. So you have Belgium, you have Denmark, you have France, you have Italy, you have Luxembourg, you have the Netherlands, you have Greece, you have Spain and Portugal, you have England and Ireland. And the reason why it says Spain and Portugal, because technically these two cities are basically in the same area within the European country. Same thing with Europe, with England and Ireland. Okay, they're both of these cities are basically in the same country, the same region, just like Spain and Portugal. And then you have West Germany. Okay, these 10 cities are going to turn on the United States of America and shoot their intercontinental ballistic missiles on this wicked country. So now let's scroll down here and let's have a look at this video. Okay, so and basically, if you notice, it says augmentation decelerate, c'est urgent. Basically, what they're saying is, if you're going to raise the cost of living, then at least increase the wages that people make from their jobs. Because it's one thing to increase the cost of living, right? But when you increase the cost of living, but wages stay the same, then people start to suffer from what? Oppression. So here it is, the cost of living is going up, but wages are remaining the same. So people, they're not making enough money down there to make ends meet. So people are down there protesting. And by the way, speaking of protests, right? Protests, riots, rallies, they're all mentioned in the Holy Scriptures. Okay? People down there protesting, rioting, people protesting, rioting all over the world is biblical prophecy. I'm about to read it right here. 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 16, which is a part of the Old Testament of the Holy Scriptures. Okay, 2nd Esdras, the book of Esdras is located in the Apocrypha, in which the Apocrypha is a part of the Old Testament of the Holy Scriptures. So 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 16, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men." Now a sedition is a uprise or a rebellion against the government. And some examples of an uprise or a rebellion against the government is what? Protests, rallies, riots. Those are all seditions in which like I said earlier, a sedition is an uprise or a rebellion against the government. And what do you see right here? You see people rebelling against the government due to the cost of living prices going up, but wages remaining the same. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another," right? Meaning the people they're going to invade the streets in large numbers, over 15,000 down there protesting, right? In Europe, "They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." The course of their actions shall stand in their power, meaning the course of the government's actions shall stand in their power, because the government is the one with all the firepower, So whatever's going on down there in Europe, the government is going to enforce it. They're going to enforce it upon the people to further oppress the people. Ultimately, we know the so-called elites are behind it, because they're causing all this turmoil and chaos and oppression upon the people in order to what? In order to further issue in their new world order. Because what they want people to go out there and protest. They want people to go out there and riot. They want people to demand change. Because the moment people demand change, you know what the so-called elites are going to do? They're going to come with their type of change, which is going to be a transitioning into a new world order society. So, as you know, being a brother that's new coming into the faith, excuse me, it's important that you know and understand that. Okay? All this chaos that's going on is being orchestrated by the so-called elites for the benefit of bringing in their new world order of society, which leads me to Proverbs 29 verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. So because the wicked is in rulership, starting with the so-called elites, who call themselves Rothschilds and Rockefellers, the whole world is in mourning. And that's why these people are in mourning. That's why they're out there protesting. That's why they're out there rioting. Because of unrighteous dealings being done by the so-called elites. So with that, I'm going to say shalom. It's on to the next one.